What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Dynasty Mafia podcast, episode 53, here with you Monday night, May 2nd, 2022. We're doing great, as we always are. We got a lot to talk about tonight as we had our NFL Draft Hangover coming off of the very exciting, unexpectedly exciting draft that we had here. A lot to go with the wide receivers where we had a massive run. Not many quarterbacks, not many running backs on day one, but we're still going to have a lot to talk about now that it is all said and done. Who's the we? You know it. Me, Antonio, my man Keenan. What's going on tonight, buddy?
Not much, my man. Not much. Same old stuff, different day. But we didn't have one running back come out in the first round, Antonio. Not even one.
Not even one. I thought it was going to happen to our Bills. A lot of people didn't want that. So I guess maybe that wound up being a good thing. But
I mean, one quarterback, zero running backs. We both thought before the draft started, we both were like, this is not going to be as exciting as past NFL drafts where you have, higher quarterback talent. But it turned out to be exciting. All the trades, a couple trades, and then a couple players got traded. Yeah, Well, I was thinking about the players that got traded. But and then, man, the wide receivers, teams aren't messing around. This is truly become a 100% passing league. Forget the running game. Those poor running backs aren't ever going to get paid now.
Yeah, I don't know who tweeted it out. I apologize, but I believe when they were talking about the new metrics of how you build a team, defensive end was always usually the next position after quarterback. Yeah. And now it's actually apparently there's a lot of stats arguing that it's wide receiver. Yeah. Wide receiver is now the second most important position on the team.
Think about it. Our Bills kind of started that trend. They drafted Josh Allen. Yeah, they didn't draft Stephon Diggs, but they went out and gave up a first and other draft picks to get Stephon Diggs. So that's trend kind of. And then that same offseason, Hopkins went to Arizona, and then teams started drafting wide receiver side. Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and you're seeing all these young wide receivers come into the league where a few years back you would see a wide receiver like, all right, 2-3 years from now he'll be good. Now they're making an impact right away.
Yeah, and that's a good point with the Bills being part of starting that, because the trade that they made, giving up their first round pick for Diggs, the Vikings drafted Jefferson. Yeah. So the fact that he came out and set the rookie records as he did, it really showed teams like, hey, we can actually start getting these players impacted more. And that was the thing that we talked about 2 years ago when Jefferson was drafted. Was I expected, because we were very high in Jefferson, and I expected that they were going to do exactly what they did with him at LSU in college into the pros. Put him into the slot, let him do his magic. He can be on the outside if he needs to. And 1,400 yards later, we realize how great he really can be. Now you have someone like Jamar Chase coming in, and the Bengals had an amazing choice between a generational lineman in Penei Sewell or, the guy that Joe Burrow had played with in college, and everybody thought they were dumb. Yeah,
protect Burrow, and then they drafted friggin' Randy Moss Jr. over here.
Yeah, they didn't make the mistake, and I was on a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I might have mentioned on the show here that I feel like teams are going to start now making moves quicker, being more impatient, and filling needs as opposed to just like drafting for depth necessarily.
Yeah.
Like there are certain teams where, okay, I see a hole as a wide receiver. They drafted a wide receiver.
Yeah.
There was no guessing. There was no wondering, how did you make that pick? You have teams like the Patriots that are coming in where you're like, oh, wow, how did that pick happen? But we've been saying that a few times about the Patriots.
Listen, that guard pick, it might be a good pick later on, but they created that hole by trading away their damn guard. This past
right, and I think somebody as well was saying that Nick Mangold, like we all know Nick Mangold, amazing lineman. I think that it was, and he was drafted into the first round, and they were made fun of a lot, and he wound up, being a Pro Bowler. But then it just comes down to value though, Keenan, and that's the same thing when it comes to fantasy football. Is for example, you might have the 101 right now, and if you think Chris Olave is the best wide receiver in the draft, you don't pick him at 101.
I mean,
you try to trade down.
The Jags made that mistake with 1-1. I mean, we'll off fantasy topic here. I mean, they could have easily traded down and got the player they got at. I mean, I say easily traded down, but you got to have two parties to make a trade. If no one wanted to trade up, then I guess they took the player that they thought was going to be the best player in the draft. But yeah, I mean, do you want to get right into it, or do you want to ask your question today that I see here?
So I actually debated deleting the question.
No,
I wasn't sure.
No, we're doing the question today because
let's talk about the rundown. We've already talked a little bit about the draft. We're going to talk even more about the draft, get some winners and losers, get into our rankings, talk about a couple of trades that have happened. So it's going to be pretty full, but it's going to be pretty fun as well. So speaking of fun, the question of the day, Keenan, when nobody else is home or nobody's around you, do you close the door when you go to the bathroom?
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Listen,
no hesitation.
Let me tell you this. I don't even close the door if everyone's sleeping. My wife came downstairs one time. She goes, it was like early in the morning. One of the kids were upstairs, like making a ruckus or whatever. And she comes downstairs to see if I was up, and because I wasn't in our room, and so she figured I fell asleep on the couch or something watching TV. And she comes downstairs, and I'm taking a huge dump. She's like, I didn't know we had a first words out of her mouth that morning. I didn't know we had an open door policy in this house. I'm like, yeah, we do now.
There's definitely, and I wondered because I know there are some couples out there that don't, have any of that conversations about, the bowels and just don't even want to hear. Women don't poop, right? They don't poop.
They don't poop or fart.
Yeah, none of that happened. And so I know one of my coworkers, one of my old coworkers, she was in, one of the older generations than me. And she's like, that door is always closed. I never go to the bathroom when my husband's in here. Like none of that ever happens. And in my head, I'm like, dang, I think I broke that bread like 2 months into dating my wife or something. Like, yeah, sometimes you get lazy, and then when you're going, if you are taking a dump or something, I don't know. I mean, people aren't around. Definitely, I definitely do not keep that door closed when the people aren't around.
Listen. My poop is everyone's poop.
Everyone poops. Great book.
Yeah.
All right. So that question got put out. Make sure, with that being said, that you are following us. Exactly. I'll have to put that as a vote. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at DynastyMafia_FF. Make sure you're following me at Antonio DeniseFF. You can follow Keenan at Keenan_716, and you can check out the website at DynastyMafiaPodcast.network. And if you check us on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you know every time we're hanging out here. Sorry, I got the sniffles today. Everyone's kids are sick.
It's unbelievable.
Right? It's that time. Everybody. It's
unbelievable.
Dude, I don't know what's going on. There's like six people that I know of with them or their kids, or some mix are sick. We were supposed to pod last night. I was under the weather.
It's been a long winter. I'm ready for summer because spring brings allergies and all that stuff. I'm ready for summer.
Especially when we just basically had fall, winter, and spring this whole week.
Dude, that's probably what cost us. I had the AC on. Was it the Saturday, Sunday? It was nice out.
Yeah, Sunday and Monday last week. It was crazy.
It was so humid in my house. I'm like, I'm turning the AC on. It was ridiculous. It's like 80 degrees in my house. The next day, it's snowing and the freaking heat is on, and I'm back to wearing long sleeves and I got to move.
Dude, I took the patio furniture out.
That's been out. That's been out since freaking March for me.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was gonna snow until like nighttime right beforehand, and she's like, "Hey, apparently it's gonna snow tomorrow," and I was like, "Oh God, that's what I get for trying to do physical activity."
Yeah.
All right. First news and notes. We're going to talk about the Saints today. Signed Tyrann Mathieu. They are making a lot of moves on both sides of the football.
Sneaky good.
It might be something. It might be something because drafting Chris Olave now, trading up Even Soda draft.
That ruined my mock draft. I would have won the mock draft if they just stayed at 16 and drafted him. But great pick by them.
Yeah, I'll take the crown there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect him. I don't know. I was surprised about that, but needless to say, they're making a lot of moves to show
Why were you
that
surprised?
Jameis Winston.
Why were you surprised?
He fits. I just feel like, the more I thought about it after, when I was surprised originally, I was like, man, he's a lot like MT. Like, I don't know if that's going to work, that you have Winston throwing to two of the similar wide receivers. I felt like they needed more of some speed and more quickness in there. Like Traquan Smith's not doing it. But then the more I looked at it and the more I thought, I'm like, you know what? He actually might be a lot like Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
What he dealt with in the Bucs when he was there. And if that's the case, then, Godwin had a fantastic rookie year and he was in the slot a lot. I don't know what Dennis Allen, the new head coach, is going to do. I'm assuming they're going to be rather offensive minded still, like they were, even though he's been the defensive coordinator for a while. But I don't know. I've been a fan of Jameis.
Yeah, I know you have. And I thought the pick was great. That's what I thought of right away when they drafted him. I'm like, they have their Mike Evans and MT, and now they have their Godwin. But my big question is now with this whole new offense setting up is what's going on with Kamara. That could be. We can talk about that some other day. But are you worried about Kamara at all getting his touches and his receptions? I mean, he's got to take a hit somewhere.
Well, what was it, 81 catches, I think, like 3 straight years or something, and then he kind of rekindled the last few games where he went insane. But yeah, for the most part, he was not having a lot of catches, and he was getting more carries though. So the touches are similar. The total yardage would be less. The reason
he was getting more carries is once Watson went down, that's when the carries.
Yeah. Now, and then the Hill debacle was switching around.
Yeah, switching around. They had some guy that holds a clipboard play quarterback, whatever was going on, and then they had Trevor Siemian play on Thanksgiving. And was that this year? Yeah, that was this year.
Yep.
Right?
Oh yeah.
But I think with Kamara, you're gonna see less receptions. That's where he's gonna get hurt. He's gonna get hurt because I think Watson likes to throw the ball down the field. That's he's not going to change. He's never going to change, and people need to stop trying to think that he's going to change. He's a gunslinger. He's a Brett Favre type of quarterback.
Yeah, the biggest issue for Kamara was the rushing touchdowns and the yards per carry. The receptions can go down, but looking at his total touches for his career, he had almost a career high. Actually, he did. He had a career high in touches last year, but it was because his attempts was 240. So when he runs the ball, they were worried, can he hold up the whole time? Can he maintain a big workload like 20 touches a game, for example? And people were worried, but he did it. And 3.7 yards per carry is not what you need. If he got that up to his career average, that's a whole nother yards per carry. You're looking at a guy who's rushing for almost 1,150, 1,200 yards and getting you almost 400 yards on the ground or on the air with a lot of touchdowns. So he's going to be great with that aspect, but I don't know.
But those career highs that you just mentioned, didn't they come in receptions? Didn't they come when he had another running back that was carrying the ball, and he would just come out there when they're throwing the ball? Right.
Yeah, he was definitely sharing. I mean, he was definitely sharing the workload, but that's what people argued for Kamara all the time was, hey, give the man 20 touches a game because he would always get, 8 carries and 7 catches or something.
But here's my point now, Antonio. There's no one behind him really. He's getting the touches by either they're handing him the ball, or they're throwing him the ball. How are they going to give him his touches? So what's the easiest way right now?
It's 100% going to be rushing. It's like he'll be lucky. You're right. If in PPR leagues, like 50 receptions is what you're going to be happy for with Kamara. You're not getting 80.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt his receptions because now they added this rookie wide receiver that they traded out for. Michael Thomas is coming off injury, didn't play at all last year. So and they had Watson who likes to throw the ball downfield.
Yeah, I just was double checking to see because I know he finished 9th, so Yeah, it's not where you were looking because he generally was a top 5 player, with those kind of receptions. So it is something to be concerned about as far as Kamara goes. You're right. Probably something we don't need to hold for another episode, but I know we'll talk about a lot this offseason because at least for me, he's not in my top 6 for running back rankings. In my top 6, no, not for running back rankings. Not today that we want to divulge.
Let's hear them. Let's hear the top 6.
No, you don't want to hear the top 6.
All right.
We're going to keep moving right now.
All right.
Why would he be in yours?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in the thinking process of rankings yet, but he's in top 10. I mean, he's top 10 for sure. But
he is.
But I do have
just
concerns with Kamara.
Because CMC's ahead of him for me, no problem. I have Swift.
CMC. I don't know what Carolina's doing, so he's like their only option.
But I have Swift ahead of him. Yes. I think you have to have Dalvin Cook ahead of him.
Yes.
Regardless of what's going to happen there. You're not going to like it, but I got Barkley ahead of him.
Oh.
It's a dynasty. Barkley's there. I'm very bullish on Barkley.
And that's going to continue. You want Barkley? I got him.
Jonathan Taylor's obviously ahead of him. I mean, that's already 6. And so and I'm sure I'm probably forgetting somebody as I'm going through a top of my head list, but that's where
did you say Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah. So I don't know. That's for me where there's concerns, and then you add on that they're hoping to be a pass first offense, which is what we're looking at. I'm hoping for because of my Jameis shares. But all right, so that's some of the Alvin Kamara, which you started because of the Chris Olave.
That's the first thing that popped in my head when they drafted him.
Right.
They're definitely trying to become more of a down the field threat.
Yeah, I guess Adam Troutman wasn't there either. I mean, that's a good point for even more receptions. So no Adam Troutman, no Michael Thomas, and you only get 47 catches. I mean, what Mike Thomas played, I think 3 games.
Did he play at all last year?
Yeah, he played he came back for like 2 or 3 games.
Did he? I don't remember. I don't recall.
Mad or upset. So he just kind of gave up the rest of it. But yeah, Adam Troutman, he is a fantastic down the field route running tight end, more like a Mike Gesicki type player. There was a big breakout you were expecting with him, or a lot of people were expecting with him. Unfortunately, that injury happened very, very early. What was it, game 1 or the last week of preseason? Something crazy. But Adam Troutman is going to be coming back, and that's going to be a massive, like an OJ Howard type player for Tampa Bay. I know we keep going back to that, but that's where you saw Jameis Winston succeed the most. I understand it was Bruce Arians. I understand it's an air raid system, but the Saints are obviously looking to throw, and they do have some of the most air yards of most teams in the league.
How did we go from the Honey Badger to Alvin Kamara?
Like I said, you started it.
I got excited.
We talked about both sides of the ball. Matthew's going to be amazing. I mean, we saw the impact that he brought to Kansas City, whether people want to respect it or not. Like, he changes defenses.
Yeah.
There's a reason he picked New Orleans. He didn't pick them because he's not trying to win a ring.
I'm shocked he was still available. When I saw the notification come in, I'm like, oh, that's.
I think he wanted to wait for the draft. He wanted to wait for free agency. Like, he wanted to wait for all the dust to settle for him to say, all right, I kind of see where they're going.
You're about to see the second wave of free agency. You still got a lot of players that need a home. Odell, Julio.
I mean, I was just about to say there's a lot of teams that did not add wide receivers that should have. Some teams that got rid of wide receivers and absolutely didn't fill those holes. Why don't we just actually talk about that? Why don't we talk about some draft feelings right now? So I was real pissed at the Packers.
Why?
As I'm sure everybody was.
Why? All the wide receivers were gone by the time they got.
Look. Hindsight's 20/20, man. You could be happy you got Christian Watson where you did. I think you got lucky, and I think they should have used both of those picks to be trading up.
But I don't know.
There's no way.
It's easy.
There's no way around it.
That's easy for you and I to say, but some teams aren't going to trade with.
Keenan.
Minnesota.
Do you know what frustrates me?
Minnesota traded with Detroit.
Yeah, right. And with Green Bay.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. He's got his notebook, guys.
No, I don't think this is the one. Do you know what frustrates me, Keenan?
Let's hear it.
Is the fact that everybody's.
Is this your Packers notes that you were?
Yeah.
That you typed out in our chat the other day?
You don't even know. Here you go, people. There's my Packers notes. that I went through. Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to go a little bit of a rant here. So if you want to leave, whoever's listening, you can turn me off for like a couple minutes. I understand. But, like, you turn me off, Keith. When it comes to Aaron Rodgers, they do nothing but support the man and treat him, godly there, and act like if we have Aaron Rodgers, we can win the Super Bowl every single year.
But you
Like,
can.
I don't care who's around him, but you can't.
But
you can't. And what bothers me with that is you went so far as to say that you decided to draft a quarterback in the round 1 and then a backup running back in the same draft class. It just doesn't make sense to me that they go on to do that. And yes, it wound up working, I guess, if you want to say it that way, but they could have also added another piece beyond somebody like a Valdez-Scantling who drops a lot of damn touchdowns, and Alan Lazard, who should have matured into more than what he was, EQ St. Brown, who never really was capable of anything. And Tunyon was a one and Tunyon, one and done guy. And with all of that being said, Aaron Rodgers is still great. In the what I did look up was I was curious as to how he does without a number 1 wide receiver. I kind of went towards injuries because if players weren't out all season, you really can't do anything. When Jordy Nelson tore his ACL, I didn't really take that into effect because he was out all year. What I took into effect was how the offense is looking as the seasons are going on and how he deals if he doesn't have number 1 wide receiver and who the ball goes to. Anyways, there was 17 games over that time frame where it was Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, and Greg Jennings when those 3 had missed games. The dude was 16-1. So that was pretty frustrating to go through and realize because I don't know. It's insane to me, right? So he was 9-0 without Devontae Adams.
Yeah. Well, that's why they think that's literally the worst thing that could happen to the Green Bay Packers is for Aaron Rodgers to produce when Adams is hurt or their top players are hurt, and for Rodgers to deliver and win games for Packers. That's the worst thing that could happen because they're like, oh, well, we don't need to add anyone. We can just go out there with Alan Lazard as our wide receiver 1.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like, as a fan and as a GM, how can you just say, I am fine with expecting the best every single week, like needing the best almost every single week from my players in order to keep winning? Like that's the only part of me that worries me because you can't keep up that kind. Like I'm saying 17 games over the span of, multiple years. It's not like it was all just one season. And when you broke down all of these games, it was not very positive for the running game.
Yeah.
Like at all. And as far as wide receivers go, there was I'll have to dig up the tweet, but I believe through the amount of games there was 9 different receivers that led those games. And you don't have a Devontae Adams would be like what 12 out of 16 games, set 13 out of 16. He'd probably lead in the games for receiving. And in this one, it's 9 different receivers because he has to figure out all different people to get these touchdowns. Like Jeff Janis, James Jones, Aaron Jones was leading the game sometimes. Randall Cobb, Jermichael Finley, like all these oddball names that you need to step up and make happen. And I don't think that with the pieces right now, with a rookie like Watson, with Lazard, who's never come to fruition. I mean, Sammy Watkins is literally the guy I have the most hype for.
What about Lazard?
I can't because
Why?
like if he didn't do it before, why wouldn't he do it now? He had the opportunity. Adams missed multiple games. Adams has missed, like I said, it just said they're 9-0 without him. Lazard had, I think, 2 games with over 100 yards. It just concerns me. And the running game, I want to say, I really have to pull that back up.
Lazard's going to be Lazard. Now, feel me out. Lazard is number 1, right now on their team.
Oh, it wasn't that far away. So sorry, he's 14-1. 14-1. There was 15 games. Lazard's not far away from what?
He's wide receiver 1 right now. On their team.
Yeah, depth chart wise, yeah, I'd say for sure he'd be wide receiver 1.
I mean, I even think more in Rodgers is familiar with him, and he's been with Rodgers. Now, what if Lazard is the next Devontae Adams?
I think you would have seen that already.
Really?
That would have been there because like he had his opportunity, even as the wide receiver too. Like Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb were really, really good together. Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams, very, very good together. Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings good together for the 1 year. Like you saw it happen with Rodgers multiple times. And that's where I think that if we knew it was going to be Allen Lazard, they would have already happened. That's my only fear. And like I said, the running game, they had 600-yard games in those 15, only a touchdown in 7 of them. There was 700-yard games out of the 15 for Green Bay receivers. And in those games, Rodgers had 3+ touchdowns 7 times. But they were blowing people out. That's what's crazy, too. Like, they were blowing people out by double digits was their average. Like, I can't explain it. Everything I keep trying to say is just going to be negative because I'm a person of...
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at...
I respect extreme sustainability like I do, but
yeah,
there's a point where you have to say, like, you cannot sustain those kind of numbers to win an NFC championship and a Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, he seemed happy on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, he did.
The other day. So I think he's more of someone that's more about money and individual.
Absolutely. He believes it. That if he's a quarterback, I don't care who you put in my X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
we're gonna win.
I'm looking at Devontae Adams stats. My man, he was good.
He balled out.
Besides touchdowns, I mean, the touchdowns didn't happen until the third year, where he went from he had 3 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, and then he skyrocketed to 12.
Yeah, and that actually was that was 17, right? I believe that was
16.
So either that was the year Rodgers missed or it was the year after. 17, I think Rodgers missed, where he had like 8 touchdowns or something. Like he showed up.
Well, Rodgers might have missed 2015 when he had 1 touchdown.
I thought I remembered him having like 8 or 9 with Hundley, like doing real well, and that was his big breakout.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I was comparing. The reason I looked at Devontae Adams and Lazard, I was just comparing the first couple years of their careers, and Lazard's is nowhere near. So I do agree there, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I think one of these wide receivers, I don't know which one, I think they're going to have a good fantasy year. It could be the rookie. It could be the 2 rookies they drafted. It could be Sammy Watkins. It could be Lazard. They could also. There's been a lot of chatter about them going after Landry or.
That's what I think is going to happen.
Will Fuller, who's still a free agent, who I would love if the Bills signed for speed-wise. But one of these wide receivers is going to become a top 10 to 20 fantasy football wide receiver this year. Who's going to do it? I don't know. But the reason they're going to do it is because of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail there with Jarvis Landry. Like that's who I was anticipating as somebody that they would get because he hasn't had someone in the slot in a while.
Yeah.
And that would be really, really good.
What if they sign both of them?
Who, Will Fuller and
my
thought is Will Fuller, like Lazard's their Fuller, or Sammy Watkins is their Will Fuller. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the same talent-wise.
Yeah. Let's move on.
All right, but we'll move on from the Packers. But another team that we were surprised about was the Ravens.
Yeah.
They got a really great draft grade, but
Can I go?
You can go.
Can I go?
You can definitely start.
I mean, when are you gonna have an offense that is an NFL 2022 NFL offense? Why are you running the Army Navy offense? When are you gonna fire Greg Roman? When are you gonna release Lamar Jackson? I'm not even a big Lamar Jackson fan, and I'm getting frustrated because 1, you didn't draft anyone to help him, and 2, you traded his best wide receiver. Who is their wide receiver right now?
Rashad Bateman.
Yeah. I mean, we're mad over here about the Packers not getting any help. I mean, friggin' Baltimore they took 7 steps back. Yeah, they have great draft grades, great. But let's talk about NFL. How do you win in this league? You win by by your quarterback and throwing the ball. And how do I win fantasy football games is by Lamar Jackson throwing the damn ball and being MVP Jackson from a few years ago. They're handicapping him. They're the one team out of all the rookie quarterbacks, out of all the quarterbacks that were drafted in the last 4 to 5 years, they're the one team that's still running their offense from quarterbacks rookie season. Yes, he's a great runner, but I mean, come on.
That's why they're not going to get rid of Roman. He is a run first coordinator, and they have been top 3 in run game every year.
How many playoff wins do you have with Greg Roman as your offensive coordinator?
I don't disagree with that, but that's where it's very tough to say, let's get rid of one of the best coordinators for what our quarterback is best at doing.
But Josh Allen, when he entered the league, was best at. Everyone thought he was a runner.
Yeah, nothing like Lamar though. Like people expected Lamar to be that running quarter. Like that's what they thought was Lamar's a runner, not a thrower. Lamar has matured himself into becoming a better thrower, but he's not a better thrower to the point where he's Aaron Rodgers and you give him one weapon, maybe 2 weapons, and he's going to go win you a Super Bowl.
He's got one.
What I feel amazing about though, Keenan, is J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm super excited for him that they didn't add a running back. They got rid of a wide receiver and didn't add another one.
You're going to run. When Hall made it to the second round, I looked at the draft board. I'm like, the Ravens are going to find a way to get this guy.
And that was my big fear,
and thankfully they didn't.
Which kind of happened, but that was my big fear, was that Hall was going to go to a timeshare.
I mean, he kind of did, and killed 2 fantasy running backs with 1 stone.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that into a few minutes. But talking about J.K. Dobbins, I'm super excited for what he's going to bring to the table this year. So if you had him and you were worried, you're a big winner. If you bought him, you're a big winner. Don't sell him.
I hope he can produce with 9 men in the box.
That's how they've been. I mean, even with Marquise Brown, they weren't getting a lot of respect. I think the emergence of Mark Andrews, which we already knew was there. I don't know what they're doing to Keenan, to be honest with you. Like, is Bateman a better X than Marquise Brown? Absolutely.
You know what I'm doing? I'm trading Lamar Jackson this year in all my dynasty leagues.
Oh, dude, I know. I'm so upset. Like,
I'm not. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts.
Don't say that, because the trade I made. I made a big trade like a month ago where it was it was a combination of packages, but it involved Lamar being sent away to me, and I was giving up Tua and Hurts. This was pre-Tyreek Hill trade, pre-Marquise Brown trade, pre-AJ Brown trade. So literally, I texted the person I traded the other day. I said that might go down as one of the worst trades ever made.
Did you learn your lesson?
I mean, I believe in Hurts and Tua.
No. Did you learn your lesson about making fantasy trades before the draft, NFL draft?
Well, Hill was not, and AJ Brown was. I love it for Hurts, but that was a fluke. It was a fluke because, as we know, the Lions traded up to 12 after the Eagles traded up to 13. Because the Eagles wanted Jameson Williams, and then the Lions draft Jameson Williams.
Are we sure?
Are we sure? I mean, there's so much speculation around that they wanted him before the draft happened. I think there was a lot of talk that he might have been the first. My
question is, didn't the Lions trade up before the Eagles did?
So when I was watching it, as it happened, at least how it shows the draft board and like all the teams that are up next and all that. So the logo for pick 12 did not change before the logo for pick 13. So I saw that the Eagles had traded 13 first. I don't know how it actually worked, like in the back scenes and all that.
Yeah.
But obviously, those trades are happening without both teams really knowing. Like at the time of that all happening, there's no way that the Lions knew and the Eagles knew.
But here's my thing: if you wanted a player, why wouldn't you just trade up to 12? Why did you trade at 13?
So they probably weren't offering enough because, like we talked about, what was it? It was a first, like the last pick in the first couple picks in the second, and then the end, like the first picks in the third. So it was a haul for them to get that. But I'm gonna guess that whatever the Eagles were offering was not what the Vikings wanted. And I want to make it sense because the Vikings trade out of it again. One of those picks.
Yeah.
I was just surprised the Vikings didn't make the pick.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna lie. I understand
imagine,
it was a lot. I understand it was a lot to get.
Can you imagine Jefferson and
Traylon Burks
or Williams?
Yeah, James Williams would have been sick. Yeah, I was in my mind I was like, oh, Traylon Burks and Jefferson together, that'd be ridiculous. But Williams would be helpful. Like, I don't know why some coaches and GMs don't see that world like we do. Like, there are the ones that do, like, but the ones that you do are winning. Like Sean McVay sees the world as a fantasy. His NFL leadership is a fantasy world.
Yeah,
and he plays Madden, and that's literally what he does.
Not
and
literally.
The guy won.
Not literally.
No, but like he's playing Madden in the world of the NFL. Like, he literally trades his first round draft picks. He mortgages his future for the present, and they show up every single year. He hasn't had a pick for 4 years.
The Rams draft. They rent a house. Do you see that?
No,
they rent a big house, big mansion. They didn't have a pick till the third round, so they just drank and partied. And then they interviewed after the Patriots pick, and they're all laughing. They're all laughing because they're all drunk.
That was really funny.
Yeah.
But people like him, and now you have every time I talk about this guy, the head coach of Miami, he wasn't San Francisco, Mike. Every time I forget his last name, I got to get onto that one. But anyways, like, he as well, he's another up and coming where I think he might start living the game like Madden. Like, one of his first things he did was get Tyreek Hill. Okay, so now we got Tyreek Hill, we got Jalen Waddle. We can make a lot of things happen. We got Mike Gesicki. Like, look at this little video game stunt we're going to be playing.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, thank you. So,
all right, let's get into. Yeah, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, no, I'm just still going on the draft feelings. Like all those wide receivers that ran through. Like, it was shocking and crazy to people. Like, we knew that was probably the range where they were all going to go. I just think it was a lot of the movement and trades that had happened for it.
I was shocked that they went as early as they did, because I thought some of the wide receivers were dropped into the 20th, in the 20th picks. But then after I'm sitting there, I'm like, why was I shocked? Look at the offseason. All the wide receiver movement, all these teams are like, okay, well, let's draft wide receivers. Yeah,
I texted you morning of the draft. What did I say?
A couple minutes before the draft. There's going to be a couple wide receiver trades. Not Debo, though.
No, not Debo. But yeah, I said I have a feeling, you mark my words, there's going to be a couple wide receivers traded today.
The Marquise Brown trade came out of nowhere.
Yep. And you know what the thing was? Well, afterwards it was, I guess he asked for a trade.
Yeah.
So I guess that obviously hadn't come out.
And I guarantee the Hopkins news about him getting suspended for 6 games was definitely, they definitely knew about it.
Yep. So Arizona knew that. So obviously that came out today. DeAndre Hopkins suspended for 6 games for PEDs. I'm sure he'll appeal. You're talking, best case 4 games. I'm going to assume it'll probably stick at 6. But, I want to ask you first, right before we get into Baltimore. Well, we're on Baltimore right now. Remind me afterwards.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your thoughts with the Lions and Williams. But how did you feel originally when Hollywood was traded? How did you feel for his fantasy value?
I thought it was better. I really did. I mean, how many times we always talk about how Baltimore doesn't use their wide receivers. They need to get another wide receiver to go with Marquise Brown. I mean, just look at Christian Kirk's numbers when Hopkins wasn't in the lineup. He produced. Now Arizona, who likes to throw the ball a lot more than Baltimore does, they've just added a better version of Christian Kirk, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't. Why would who's saying that his value went down?
Well, so we were talking before the show. Like, I tweeted as well that right when that happened, I thought he went to one of the best situations in the whole damn league he can go to.
Yeah.
The only other place is the 49ers.
He's not a wide receiver 1. Someone's taking the pressure off.
Yeah, but I've been hearing. Sorry.
Arizona likes to throw the ball more than Baltimore. It's a win-win for Marquise Brown.
Yeah, 100%. And for some reason, the bigger, pods that are out there in the industry, a lot of them are saying, and rankings are showing that he's a wide receiver 3 at best. And I can't understand that either. And now this news comes out. So I'm going about thinking he was, for me, I had him near 20th. And now this news comes out. I mean, I'm going to have a really tough time not making him borderline wide receiver 1.
I wouldn't go that far, but he's going to have a great season. He's going
to for dynasty, no, sorry, that'll be coming for redraft. But Keenan, like, you can't, like, last year. Let me tell you, last year, his first 9 games, he played 16 games last season. So in his first 9 games, which are somewhere that I'll have to look now. In his first 9 games, he had, well, anyways, I remember it was north of 700 yards, over 50 catches, and 6 touchdowns. He ended the season with just over 1,000 yards and still 6 touchdowns. So, I mean, he had an amazing start to the beginning of the year. He had 91 catches for 1,008 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was 14th in the league in catches. He had a career low in his yards per receptions, career low yards per target, career low yards before catch per reception. They had him running a lot shorter routes than he had been over the first couple years of his career, because everybody remembered Marquise Brown as, oh, he's a deep threat. He's just going to run. He's going to go. Well, the guy's actually a really good route runner too. And they started putting him in the slot. And when that kind of stuff happened, you're obviously going to get shorter routes. You're going to get shorter balls thrown to you. And that's where they wanted to work their offense, run it, and let's do short and intermediate routes and throw the ball to Mark Andrews. So, yes, Keenan?
I was just looking at target share. Marquise Brown has 26% target share last year. So maybe that's where people are worried that he won't get as many targets as he was getting in Baltimore, because he was the only wide receiver really there besides Mark Andrews. But now with Hopkins suspended for 6 games, I think you hit the nail on the head there, where he's probably going to be a wide receiver 1 with Hopkins six games suspended, at least in redrafts, right? He's going to get. His target share might even go past 25-26%.
Oh, it's going to be very high, especially when he's getting open. The thing that'll concern people will obviously be his yards per reception. But if he's doing what Kirk was doing and AJ Green shifts to what Hopkins did, it's going to be beautiful. I just tweeted something out again earlier today. I know a lot of tweets going on, but it's that time of the year. So I looked at a few stats between Lamar and Kyler last season. I looked at their attempts per game, bad throw percentage, on target percentage, completion percentage, yards per attempt, and yards per game. Follow me?
I'm following.
Kyler was better in every single stat. Every single one of those. All 6 of those I just listed, he was better in all of them. And it's not just somewhat better. It's almost near 5% better, if not 10% better in most of those categories. And that's where, to me, you're moving him to, like you said, a higher fast-paced offense.
Yeah.
That's willing to throw the ball fast-paced offense. And a team that has a lot of short and intermediate routes, a quarterback that is extremely accurate. Like, that's the biggest thing, Keenan, you're talking about. Well, I kind of led myself into it, but you're talking about, he doesn't get a lot of catches and all that. Well, yeah, it's because Lamar, man. Like, that's the unfortunate part, is it's Lamar. It's not easy to throw slants and hit a fast guy.
It's the offense.
Well, but last year though, like last year transitioned better for Marquise Brown. What he did last season was, well, naturally, because of running shorter routes, you're going to have a higher catch percentage. But he went from just under 65 his rookie year down to 58 when he ran, longer routes, got a little more adapted, started burning people. And then last season, it was down to 62.3. So it's still not very good for someone that had some heavy dosage in the slot.
Yeah.
But let me tell you right here, let me throw some stats on you, Keenan.
I'm listening.
Actually, let's play a little guessing game. Player A I'm gonna throw some more. Yeah, so some stats here. I got player A and player B. Let's see if you can guess. Probably not, but we're gonna do it anyway. Player A, 103 targets, 77 catches, yards per reception of 12.9, an A dot of 11.6, a catch percentage of 74.8, and a yards per target of 9.5. I know it's a lot coming at you. Player B.
108 targets?
Yeah, write this down. Write this down. Yeah. 103. You just need to write the numbers down in order. 103, 77, 12.9, 11.6,
Okay.
74.8, and 9.5. Yeah, I understand it's repetitive, but there's a point to this. Player B, 100 targets, 58 catches, 13.3 yards per catch, 12.9 A dot, 62.3 catch percentage, and a 7.7 yards per target.
Well,
so
player A is Christian Kirk.
Yeah, we talked about that prior to the show. So player A is Christian Kirk of 2021.
Player B is someone on the Jags, I'm guessing.
So player A is Christian Kirk of last year.
Yeah.
Player B is Marquise Brown of 2020.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was going to be LaVishka.
Yeah. 2 years. Yeah, you had conviction it was a Jaguar player.
Yeah.
2 years ago, that was Marquise Brown's stat line.
Yeah.
And you're almost identical to what Kirk was in 2021. The biggest difference is the efficiency.
Yeah.
So people can complain and can say all these things that they want of Christian Kirk and how Marquise Brown can't fill that need. Like Christian Kirk had the problem was the problem is, like we said, is the completion percentage. Like he had 3 more targets than Brown, but 19 more catches.
Yeah.
Like imagine if he had even half of those more as catches, Brown would have a lot of things would have been different. And the guy gets a lot of touchdowns. And I think without Hopkins, especially in the red zone, like he's just going to be insane. To me, he's easily going to be a wide receiver 2 for me in Dynasty. But you were talking about Kirk. Yeah. In the weeks last season he missed with Hopkins, there was 4 of them that missed Hopkins only, not Hopkins and Murray. Targets 12, 9, 9, and 3. So there's a lot to go for him. We talked about the A dot. They throw the ball down the field. Last year, the top 31 receivers, 4 of them were Arizona for A dot. Or for yards per target, I'm sorry. James Conner had a career high. Christian Kirk had a career high. AJ Green has his 3rd highest, and DeAndre Hopkins had his 3rd highest. Hopkins also had his career highest in A dot. Let me just explain that real quick. I apologize. A dot is average depth of target. So how far is the ball traveling for every time that you're being targeted? So let's say you get a 15-yard catch, but you caught the ball 10 yards out. It's going to be a 10 yards for average depth of target. So you'll take the number of receptions, divide that by targets. That's how you get the number. Obviously, the higher the better. Christian Kirk, like I said, was 9.6. That was 17th in the league. So to give you an idea of how high those were. So anything over 9 is just crazy. And there was 4 players on the Cardinals. For retrospect, 3 of the 49ers were in the top 15. So that's crazy.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Just some stuff, man. So we're very high on Marquise Brown. Christian Kirk, I'm not,
Nope.
Today's not a day of Christian Kirk. But Keenan, let me ask you one thing. Would you rather have Marquise Brown or AJ Brown?
AJ Brown. AJ Brown.
What about
that's not even close, Antonio.
Okay. What about Marquise Brown and DK Metcalf?
Well, I mean, who's throwing DK Metcalf the ball?
Well, who would you rather have?
I mean, I'd rather have I think Marquise Brown, just because you've seen. I'm not a big DK guy because you've seen it's a roller coaster with DK. It really is. 1 week. Oh, here we go. DK's blowing up in fantasy. Next week he's down and Lockett's up. That's how it's been for at least the last year. The thing is, who has the better quarterback in the end for wide receivers? Do you trust Lockett to help DK become a wide receiver one next year? I don't. So I always look at that when it comes to me, especially redraft. I always I want to have my wide receivers to have a good quarterback, and I'll take Kyler and Brown.
Yeah, that's fair. I was surprised that you were so, I guess, easily convinced that it's AJ Brown hands down over Marquise.
I mean,
I told you people are going south on him too, just like they did in Hollywood. I don't see it either. I don't know why.
I mean, AJ Brown. The reason Ryan Tannehill got his contract and became a good fantasy quarterback for a year or two, and won so many games was because Derrick Henry won, and two, AJ Brown, right? AJ Brown, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Mostly AJ Brown, really.
Yeah. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. Especially yards after the catch. Just look at it. I mean, this is why when AJ Brown, this is why I thought when AJ Brown was traded to Philly, I thought, not to jump to the winners and losers, I thought the biggest winner of the draft was Hurts, and a couple of my losers in this were Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert, just because it's going to become more of a balanced offense, and it'll help Hurts definitely having a true alpha wide receiver one and a wide receiver one that can make a catch behind the line of scrimmage and break it for 20, 30 yards.
I think, I know you said they may want to be more balanced. I agree. Balance is in the part of they need to throw the damn ball some more.
Yeah, it's going to go to AJ Brown.
It'll go to both. I think that.
Listen, Antonio, not everyone is going to be good,
but everybody can be. If Hurts, you just have to look at the numbers. If Hurts throws the ball 35 times a game, if you're going to give AJ Brown 8 to 9 targets a game, which is what he's used to, I mean, he's never really had more than 7 or 8 targets a game. He's not someone that's going to, I mean, if he's going to go out there and command 10 targets a game, I understand he's getting paid $25 million, but he was in a system that he didn't need that much. Like, he's been amazing on 105 targets. So if he can go get himself 125 targets, 130 targets, yeah, you're looking at a pretty insane AJ Brown year. No doubt, especially when you're not going to have any cornerbacks looking to double team him with the safeties, because they're going to have to worry about Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert. And, Devontae Smith, same thing. Give him 7 to 8 targets a game. Give Dallas Goedert 6 to 7. I mean, that still leaves, potentially 10 plus to the running backs and a couple other wide receivers. So I think it's possible. They just need to throw it more, because over the last 3 seasons, Keenan, 461 catches have come from wide receivers. Last in the NFL. Like that's why I don't think it's a coincidence that they drafted Devontae Smith last year, and now they've traded for AJ Brown because they were going to be drafting a wide receiver, so presumptively at least. So you have to, and this is what you got to do. Their running game is stupid. I love Miles Sanders, but the way that they do their running game, the way they keep rotating backs, it needs to stop. Miles Sanders needs to be the guy. Let Hurts do his thing, because he had to save them so much because that offensive line just couldn't stay healthy. And it's just what these teams need to do. Invest in your quarterbacks. The Giants failed not doing it for Daniel Jones.
Last year he had 30 attempts in 5 games. Jalen Hurts. Yeah,
they ran the ball way too damn much.
Well, I mean,
they ran the ball well, but that's what I'm saying. If they need to get him, if he could throw the ball more and he gets near 35 attempts a game, I don't see a reason.
I'm just worried that they're thinking Jalen Hurts is their game manager and they'll draft a quarterback next draft. But
these moves don't seem like that could be the case. So I hope not. But I
do think AJ Brown helped Tannehill become what Ryan Tannehill is today. The yards after catch, and Jalen Hurts is going to love that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. What's Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is at least good at throwing to an open wide receiver. That's a good thing for him. And Devontae Smith does it very easily. AJ Brown does it tremendously. Like that's the thing. Like, it's not a coincidence. Well, again, we're gonna keep saying it. It's not a coincidence they were probably getting Jameson Williams. Like, you're gonna pair him with Hurts. I believe he played with Hurts for a year or something. And he is one of the best route runners. He gets open consistently. So if you can just keep getting, like Tua's getting right now, if you give a quarterback players who can run tremendous routes and can get open very easily, You just gotta hit him, man. You hit him and let him do the rest.
Yeah, I agree.
So do you think where are you putting Devontae Smith then? Is he more of the wide receiver 3? Like does he get like
I know you're not gonna like that.
Would you rather have Devontae Smith or would you rather have Adam Thielen?
Smith, dynasty wise, absolutely. Yeah, that's not even a question. It's more like,
so you still think Smith will be able to produce and he'll still be relevant?
Yeah, I mean,
You just don't think elite jump might be happening.
I think what we expected out of Smith last year, I don't think that's realistic anymore.
Yeah,
I really don't. I mean, I think you even traded up to get Smith in one or two leagues, and I think I even said after I drafted Jamar Chase, I was like, man, I wish I would have taken Smith over Jamar Chase. Now I'm glad I went with Chase, obviously, but what we were expecting out of Smith is kind of what Jamar Chase did, but not. I mean, I guess not exactly what he did because he had such a great year, and now with AJ Brown there, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we're ever gonna see Smith reach his potential.
Yeah, I understand that
fantasy wise,
right, but and I understand that, but he was very similar to AJ Brown. I did want to mention that we were all concerned for him. He was another A to B player situation I could have brought up. AJ Brown, his first year, 84 targets, but his second year, 106. What did he have? He had 70 catches, 1,075 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Last year you had Smith getting 916 yards off of 64 catches and 104 targets. He didn't get a lot of the touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, but the 900-yard mark is just it's tremendous for a rookie wide receiver to do. To get over the 100 targets and then 64 catches, he didn't have a high percentage catch rate. So if that can go up just a couple more points too, and you're looking at Devontae Smith getting you 65 to 75 catches, 1,000 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns, you're right. Like the elite capability is probably going to be capped for a little while, unless that throwing does go up even more than the 35 attempts a game, which
it's got to get to 40.
Yeah, he might have to get closer to 40. I mean, Joe Burrow is able to sustain 3 players, 3 wide receivers, more so, 2 wide receivers like Higgins and Chase because he concentrates them to all 3 of those. If that's what Philly's going to do, if he still can, throws it 30 or 35 times, but 20 targets a game are concentrated to those 2 wide receivers, and then, Goddard and the running backs can get the rest, then you're talking about some serious potential for, 2 1,200 candidates on the same team. Like that could really happen because Hurts loves to throw that damn ball.
Yeah.
Well, Keenan,
as much as our Eagles fans love us talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, maybe we should jump to some winners and losers here.
Yeah, we could definitely get into a few more of the winners and losers. Well, no, one more thing I wanted to talk to you before we get more that. The Jameson Williams, like, why did the Lions trade up to get him? Like, was that
the better question is why did Minnesota trade down with a division rival?
Well, as we said, like that haul was big. Like to get the 3 picks they did.
Here's the thing.
But you knew they were getting a wide receiver too. Like that's the thing. You're right.
Yeah. And they're just not sold on a quarterback this year. So they're going to go out with Jared Goff this year, who's a draft winner this year. And they're going to go out there with Brown and Williams once Williams is healthy, and they're going to have a pretty good offense. And they're going to draft their quarterback next year. That's why they drafted Williams. They're sneaky good. The Lions. Can't hear you.
That's what I was afraid, to be honest with you, that might have drafted Breece Hall, like in the second round.
Yeah.
That's where I was afraid when I talked about him going to like a timeshare, was it could have been there. I mean, he obviously going to the Jets was not the best thing, as we'll get into.
Let's just say this: can the Lions bring out the Rams' Jared Goff?
No, because they love to run the football. That's what I didn't understand was you have DJ Chark, Amon-Ra St. Brown, now you got Jamison Williams, TJ Hawkinson,
that
DeAndre Swift.
Oh my god, that offense! I mean, you get a quarterback there.
Do they have one though?
No, I don't think so. I think next year. I think they're a 5 to 6 win team next year again, and then they draft a quarterback. Kneecaps is not gonna get that more than six wins.
He's not, but you're right. I mean, well, that's why like that offense might be built though to trade for a quarterback as opposed to drafting one because
Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, at the moment I'm not sure, but I mean,
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. I don't know if that would fly, but
I mean,
do you think Baker would be better competition for Goff? Like, who's better, Baker or Goff? Do you think for that offense? I mean, it's a run first offense that has multiple running backs. I mean, it's almost like Cleveland for me. You don't have a great defense, but
I mean, Baker just wasn't able to get the ball to the wide receivers. That's what the big frustration was with Odell and Landry.
Yeah, so that's what they're doing with Goff with a lot of short and intermediate.
Yeah, and that's why Brown had such a great year last year was those short underneath passes. Yeah, I'd stick with Goff. Honestly, I wouldn't if I'm the Lions, I don't go too crazy because how much of an improvement is it if it is an improvement at all?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're kind of in a lose-lose with what they're doing. I mean, getting everybody there is great. I thought Jamison Williams' stock really tanked. Like I love him talent-wise.
Until next year they get Young from Alabama and
right. Well, that's the thing. Like I'm gonna hope that's because they're
gonna. I'm giving everyone advice. I'm giving you advice right now. Go and get Williams and Brown in Dynasty this year because when they do get that quarterback, those wide receivers are gonna plummet.
Skyrocket.
Skyrocket. Why did I say? I said plummet, and I did this.
Yeah.
Skyrocket, and this is your chance to do it.
Yeah, but I don't, and I agree with you. I just I thought Williams should have been the first one. Like in Atlanta, I was surprised that they went with Drake London. I'll be honest. I thought it might have been Garrett Wilson, but I was hoping for Jameson Williams.
I had London like 4th.
Yeah, I don't know that Atlanta is going to be the best spot for him because the best thing for him was contested catches. I mean, you're going to give him a quarterback that'll have no problem trying to, give him some trouble catching a football. But
who's their quarterback? Mariota.
They're Mariota, yeah. So
didn't they draft the Malik Willis too?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so they're gonna have they're gonna have some good stuff going on. But you got Malik Willis, who's raw, who also wasn't the craziest of accurate. Like, I just don't know if as the first the first wide receiver choice that you went with one of the guys that is big and sexy, but you have Calvin Ridley too. Like Calvin Ridley can be your X. Why don't you get someone that can be?
Do you have?
I mean, I hope so. If not, trade him. Hurry up, please. But I just thought there was a different player that could have went there. That's why I was just kind of surprised.
Can you believe that?
Green Bay should have traded up for London.
Hopkins got 6 games for doing steroids, and your boy Calvin Ridley got a whole season for putting a FanDuel bet in.
31 FanDuel bets.
My bad.
I don't know, man. The league it sucks.
They suck.
Like I said, he can't even appeal. I think until next February. So
why can't he appeal? Why can Hopkins appeal, but he
I
can't?
think because of what he did. I don't know. That's just
makes no sense.
It's annoying. It doesn't make sense, man.
You could cheat. You could cheat, but you can't put a bet in, in a game that you're not playing.
So Christian Watson then on Green Bay. What do you think about that? Where do you think of him? Why don't we actually let's just get right into our rankings.
We just talked about the Green Bay wide receivers. I don't know. I know,
but we did forget. Do you think I know? Yeah, I know. I said he should have dropped up. Let's get into our rankings. How about that? That'll probably we're gonna do our top 10 rankings and just go off the cuff of how we feel. 4 days after. This will obviously be very fluid. But it's going to be our PPR dynasty ranks.
Let me go first.
Redraft. Yeah, you can start with your number one. I think I was just
Hall.
trying to pull up where yours. Yeah, you got Hall. So what's up with the Jets then?
The only reason I got Hall is there's a lot of question marks between all these wide receivers. There really is. Atlanta with London, we just talked about it. Burks and freaking Tennessee, he's either wide receiver one. Williams is hurt. Who else do I have on here?
So I guess you're not worried about Carter at all. Are you going in? He's getting.
I'm not worried about Hall because of Carter. I'm worried about Carter because of Hall. I think Hall's their RB1.
Yeah, but so Jonathan Taylor, is this a Jonathan Taylor example where Marlon Mack was there and Mack had to get injured to change it? Do you think there's a chance that Carter?
No,
for the first few weeks.
No, because they just drafted him last year in the 4th round. So and they were one of the worst rushing teams in the league. Not that Hall comes in there and magically fixes their rushing attack because their offensive line really wasn't that good last year. But I think right now you have to take the player has probably how do I word this? Probably gets the most workload. Who's your number one? Why are we struggling here?
So I have Traylon Burks. Today is my number one.
I couldn't argue that. I couldn't disagree with that.
It's the thing. The top 6, it's going to go by need as always. But the top 6 it's probably going to be 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers. I don't think you're going to see anything different in Superflex. You might get a Kenny Pickett pick for value. I personally wouldn't grab him in the top 6. I don't know. But I know I was in a draft earlier that he was drafted 3rd. So
overall
in Superflex, yeah. People say if you need a quarterback, you got to throw, stuff at a wall sometimes. But yeah, right now, Traylon Burks, because of everything I just said with AJ Brown, he's going to get 100 targets.
Yeah.
And he's bigger than AJ Brown. He's faster than AJ Brown. He's not faster after the catch, but just to get where he needs to be to get to that point. I like his route running. He can be in the slot. He can be on the outside. So I think there's a reason AJ Brown was moved. Tennessee feels like that's their replacement, and I think they're going to put their money where their mouth is, or their pick where their mouth is, and they're going to make sure that he gets the ball. I'm not worried about Robert Woods.
I can't disagree with that. I was tossing him those 3, Hall, London, and Burks between 1, 2, and 3.
And that's where I think you're probably going to have a majority, is my guess of what those number ones will be.
I had Burks number 1 in February. Check out my TikTok video.
Ooh.
It was my number 1. I did like him a lot.
Well, I had Jameson Williams number 1 going into this. He's my number 2 though. I understand he's injured. I understand he went to Detroit. I understand I'm saying all those negative things. To me though, I gotta believe in the talent. And if he's a Deebo Samuel-esque, which I'm kind of anticipating he's going to be, that's what I think they're going to do with him. And you're right, if they find somebody else.
So
I'll be honest. This rookie year is going to be so rough, I have a feeling.
Yeah, Burks, Williams, and who do you have 3?
So 3 at this moment will probably have to be Hall.
Okay.
Because at that point is where I don't know. I just think I have to get to running back at pick 3. What about your 3rd?
I have Burks.
All right. So and your 2nd was London, you said?
Yep.
Yeah. So we just basically rotated what that'll look like.
And honestly, the only reason Williams is 5th on my list is because of that injury.
Yeah, and that's what's good. I think that's the same thing. Like we said, rotate your top 6, top 7. For some people, Williams might be the top, middle, and a lot of it will depend on that injury and the offense. There's nothing good going for Jameson Williams right now. It's not like he went to Kansas City where people had hoped, or I had hoped Philadelphia. If he went to those places, on top of worrying about the injury, you would worry less about the offense.
Yeah,
and the quarterback he's surrounded by. So it definitely does make sense. But number 4, Keenan.
Garrett Wilson.
For me, it's Chris Olave. I don't like Garrett Wilson at all.
Really?
Not anymore. Like, he wasn't my top wide receiver. I know he was a lot of people's top wide receiver. He was my third going in, but I mean, this was probably the worst, like literally one of the worst places. This or like Houston. I can't be happy.
I mean, the reason I like it is he's wide receiver 1 on their team right away.
Yeah. But
And
who are you?
they're gonna try to get this. They're gonna try to get this right between Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson. Those are their feature.
Oh wow!
Feature
How did
two.
I just recognize that?
What?
Wilson to Wilson.
Yeah. Well.
Oh man.
So who do you have for?
So my 4 is Chris Olave.
Okay. Number 5 is Williams for me. Who do you have 5?
Number 5 is going to be Drake London.
Okay. I have Olave at 6.
So, sorry, I have Walker at 6. Okay. I was trying to get these written down into one of the little, the tickers to come across, but it comes to be tough sometimes. So in the top 6 for both of us,
it's the same 6 players.
Oh, you didn't have Walker.
No, Walker's 8.
Walker?
Yeah, Walker's 8.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He's 6 for me. Okay.
Yeah.
So we
5
both had 2 running backs.
So 5 out of 6. 5 out of 6 in the top 6 are the same players.
Wow. Yeah. See, that's what's
so I mean,
interesting to me.
We don't even need to go farther. I think that tells you that this list is going to change a million times before your rookie drafts.
Where would you have Cook right now?
10,
James.
10.
Do you love that for Buffalo?
I do. Team that struggled for yards after catch, and Cook is going to come in there. And what Bean said, their general manager, right off the bat, is he views him as a wide receiver and a running back. So they're going to put him all over the place on the field.
I know I talked about. I just think it would have been better for fantasy had they gotten like Walker or Hall. I think it would have been amazing. I'm excited for Cook. I think if he can get 50 catches in his rookie season, that would be ecstatic, and that would kind of show you maybe like if he could be the Kamara.
This is gonna be a Kamara right here. I'm telling you, this is where people are gonna. It's just the Bills. The Bills' rushing attack is going to be short passes.
Wait, what?
The Bills' rushing attack is going to be Bills.
Oh,
it's going to be short passes. That's all.
Yeah, with Singletary.
Yeah.
Say bye to
Josh Allen will be the first quarterback to throw 50 times a game consistently.
Yeah, if you thought Dak Prescott a couple of years ago was wild. Yeah. Okay, so to round out, why don't you go through your
Hall, London
9 since you have Cook at 10.
Hall. I have Watson.
9's Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you go through your Hall, top 10?
Hall, London, Burks, Garrett Wilson, Williams, Olave, Sky Moore at 7, Walker, Watson, and Cook.
Wow,
that Sky Moore.
We didn't talk about Sky Moore.
That Sky Moore is an interesting pick, but have we learned anything from Clyde Edwards-Helaire that just because a player joins the Chiefs doesn't mean he's going to be good right away?
I think CEH still fit the mold of what they wanted to do. I just think, honestly, what I think happened with CEH was a combination of they wanted to win their first ring, and he wasn't getting it done like they needed, but he's still somebody they were committed to moving forward, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I felt like CEH lost his job in the postseason this past year.
I mean, we can keep thinking that. I just don't know if that's how they feel.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Well, that's for another night.
Yeah, so I got Burks as my number 1, Jameson Williams, Hall, Olave, London, then Walker, Sky Moore at 7 as well, Watson at 8, Cook at 9, and Dotson's at 10.
Where do you have?
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Where do you have Williams?
Jameson? He's at 2.
2. What about Wilson?
Oh, that's who I think I missed. See, I hate him so much that I didn't even rank him. Again, as I was writing it down.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, in my actual ranking, I have him at 8. In my other one I had. So that's where it was.
So we have the same 10 players in the top 10.
You know what? Here we go. So Wilson's at 8, Watson's 9, and then Cook's at 10. So yeah, I got Sky Moore over Wilson right now. Like that's how worried. Like realistically, how many targets can you see Wilson getting? And then on top of, like, if he gets 120 targets, I'm gonna deem he might get 65, 70 catches if you're lucky. And like that'd be really, really good for someone like him to have. And on top of that, well, now he's got to average 12 to 13 yards a carry or a catch. I mean, that's how he's going to get to 1,000 yards. He needs 70 catches to get to 1,000. Could he do it? Maybe.
Yeah,
but I don't think he will.
He's not. But
that's my only fear is like if he doesn't do it, like show promise year 1, you're not getting better because Wilson. Well, now we got to specify Zach Wilson isn't getting better.
We'll have to revisit this because we had the same 10 players in the top 10. Just mixed up. That's all it is. It's all.
Yeah, so I got dots at 11, which most people. But see that's what we were talking about. Like I've done 2 drafts I started today. I hate it after pick 16.
Yeah,
like I've never said trade that up in my dynasty career.
Trade up.
Yeah, trade up or trade like to the next year.
Up.
Like
2023
is going to be great. So if you can get on some people who aren't in the know of how 2023 is going to be, like get rid of your picks. Like, dude, like I had somebody offering me 108, Keenan. I was freaking out. I didn't understand it. They sent me 108 for Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was super flex, and I'm like, what am I missing here? Like, is somebody that high, or like is somebody that high on Brown, or am I too high on the people in the class?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, but like, and I double checked the offer. It was before the draft started, so maybe they weren't expecting someone to get them pick up, which I'm sure they weren't. But even with Jameson Williams there, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I took the trade. The person didn't answer. I texted him. I messaged him this morning and I said, hey, I've seen the trade. I'm going to see how the draft goes today. And they never responded, but it got up to pick 6. And I'm like, well, Jameson Williams is on the board. Burks is on the board. Olave's on the board. And I want one of those 3. So damn it, I'm taking the deal. So if they regretted it, I'm sorry. And one more though, Keenan. I told you I was offered 106 for Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah,
like what happened there? Like that wasn't like I did not understand.
You did that right? You did that right?
I did that, and like I saw it in my inbox that I got offered a trade because I knew the draft had started, and this wasn't a super flex, but the trade wasn't there when I went. So like you can go back and look at it.
That person's expecting Debo to get traded.
Well, that's what I thought happened was that Debo got traded, and then I was like going crazy. So then I couldn't see the trade anymore. So I was like, did they take the trade away? So if that was the case, I went and resent it. That's what I double check. It was 105 actually, not 106. So I went back and resent it with my 211. So I sent Ayuk in the 211 because I'm like, oh man, are they nervous or whatever? Like I'll take that anyway.
Yeah.
They accepted 105 and I took Traylon Burks. I mean,
nice.
I was beyond excited of that. Right. I don't know what happened.
All right, real quick, give me one winner from the draft.
Oh man, we are definitely running low on time. Marquise Brown, we talked about him a lot. A big winner for me. Why don't you go first? Because I know you got one.
You want me to go first?
You go first. You talked about before the show.
Oh, yeah, Mooney from the Bears. I think. I mean, the Bears didn't really do anything on the offensive side of the ball to really, hurt his value, and he's the true wide receiver 1 there. This is his year to prove that he's a wide receiver 1 before they get another offseason to actually get it to upgrade that wide receiver core. So I think Mooney definitely is a winner here. But my other winner also was Burks. AJ Brown out. They bring in Burks. He's going to get a majority of those A.J. Brown targets. Those are my 2 big winners.
I talked about Hollywood. I talked about J.K. Dobbins. I'm going to have to say, another big winner. Those those are some big winners. Miles Sanders is a big winner for me too, because the Eagles did not draft a running back that was really going to compete with him, and I'm still waiting for him to break out. So hopefully that'll be coming. DK Metcalf too. I think he's a winner. They got a running back to take more pressure off him. They got a tight end now with Noah Fant.
They didn't need a damn running back.
They didn't, but I think if you look at it, like Pete Carroll loves the running backs to break tackles, right? Rashad Penny was leading the league in college in breaking tackles. Chris Carson's good at breaking tackles. He had Marshawn Lynch. Like, he just loves dudes that are able to break tackles. I don't know why. Yeah. But, RIP Chris Carson. We're going to talk some more about that in the offseason. There's just so many dominoes that fell from this that we can't even get into in one show. We're already an hour and a half in. I feel like we haven't even scratched the surface on how many issues that just got caused through all these trades and drafts. Like, the thing about this, the last thing before we wrap up is there's nobody elite in this class.
Yep.
But it seems like there's so many pieces that are getting moved that it's going to be an extremely impactful draft.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
All right, give me one loser.
I'm not going to take any low-hanging fruit. I'm not going to do that. Oh, Kyle Pitts is also a winner of mine. I didn't talk about that, but I love that they got a wide receiver to help replace Calvin Ridley's gambling problem issue. So now he doesn't have to carry the whole load for himself. 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns is coming for Kyle Pitts. I'm calling it right now. You hear me. Let's give me a loser. So a loser, always going to be Aaron Rodgers. Always going to be Aaron Rodgers, but we did talk about Aaron Rodgers. How about, Patrick Mahomes?
There you go.
Patrick Mahomes is a good loser because Sky Moore could be something. They had multiple opportunities, bless you, to do something about it. Like, everybody thought with those 2 picks as well, they were going to move up, and they wound up going, defense and offense. What was it? Like a lineman, I think, was one of them. But McDuffie's a good cornerback, don't get me wrong. I just don't understand why they didn't move up a couple more spots. Maybe they did try, them and the Packers, and the asking price was just way too high. But after seeing what the Lions did to go up as far as they did at 12 for Williams, I didn't think that any of the Packers or Chiefs was going to hesitate to make a move.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes because Kelsey's aging. Juju's going to be good, but he's on a 1-year deal, so you're going to have to pay him. They got a rookie and more, and you're worried about CEH. A lot of people are worried about CEH, so he's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah, well, I got 2 losers. They're both Jets. We'll go with the easy one. Rest in peace, Michael Carter. He was, last year he was drafted. He was the 5th running back taken, and I had high hopes. I'm sure a lot of people had high hopes for him. But Hall comes in, best running back in the draft, probably a workhorse, and rest in peace, Michael Carter. It's a damn shame that teams like the Jets trade up for Michael Carter last year, then they trade up for fucking Hall. Oh, excuse me. Hall. That's how
over here.
That's how upset I am. My my second loser is also a Jet, Corey Davis. He's going to find himself fighting for targets with Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson there, which won't be easy because the Jets are going to go young. They're going to have the 2 Wilsons, and they're going to go with Elijah Moore. So I think Corey Davis, RIP, not just his season, RIP his career, fantasy career.
There you go. All right, that's some good winners and losers. We had a long episode today, as we kind of already knew that was going to be the case.
Catching up to do.
Yeah, 11:30. We're killing it this late. I know like we said, we got the plague going through our houses this week, so hopefully, knock on wood, the kids are going to sleep tonight. I know I've been having some trouble.
I doubt it.
All right, buddy. Well, I think that's going to cause a wrap up for the episode. Big draft hangover. Definitely fits the brand right now, what's going on. But we got a lot more to talk about next week. So for right now, we're going to call that quits. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at DynastyMafia_FF. You're following me at Antonio Denisi FF, and you're following Keenan at Keenan_716. Check out the pod at DynastyMafiaPodcast.network. And if you're checking us out on YouTube or have not, make sure to do so. Hit subscribe, check us out, hit the like button, tell your friends, and with further ado, Mafia out.